Today, regardless where you turn to, TV, radio, newspaper, internet, everyone talks about mindfulness. It seems like it is a keyword everyone is using. Our friends, colleagues, bosses, parents, even kids tell us to be mindful. However, what does it really mean? Who introduced this term to the Western world? And how do we define mindfulness? Well, let us start with a definition, a bit of history, and for now introduce two most known researchers and who truly deserve a credit for bringing mindfulness into the West. And that is Dr. Jon Kabat-Zinn and Dr. Ellen Langer. Jon Kabat-Zinn is a professor of medicine and creator of the Stress Reduction Clinic and the Center of Mindfulness in Medicine at the University of Massachusetts Medical School. Dr. Ellen Langer, known as Mother of Mindfulness, is a social psychologist and professor at Harvard University. I decided to start this program by introducing these two individuals to give you a sense that everything we do here is based on a scientifically proven research. However, you will see throughout the program, I will explain all of this in a very simple language and provide real-life examples to show how you can implement some of these scientifically proven tools to live better and more satisfying life. So let's now define mindfulness. As per Dr. Jon Kabat-Zinn, and after reading many definitions, I truly believe this is the best way to describe mindfulness. Mindfulness is paying attention in a particular way, on purpose, in the present moment, and non-judgmental. So again, it is being in the moment, on purpose, and not judging that moment. Root of the mindfulness is Buddhism, Taoism, and yoga. We also find mindfulness in the works of Emerson and Thoreau, as well as Native American wisdom. In reality, we know that our minds spend most of the time thinking of the past and being in the future moments. So, when we do that, and we do it a lot, we are missing this. We are missing the present moment. We are missing the now. If we think of religion, any religion, regardless, we will notice that spiritual framework has mindfulness components, and yet mindfulness has really nothing to do with any religion. And it has nothing to do with the Buddhism. In fact, it has nothing to do with anything but yourself. Yes, mindfulness means that you connect to yourself, to the moments of life, regardless whether these are good, bad, or ugly moments, and accept them just as they are. Not trying to change anything, just to accept moments of your life and accept your life just as it is and accept yourself just as you are. To be nothing different. To be yourself in those mindful moments. Again, to be clear, mindfulness does not conflict with any religion, tradition, or belief. It is simply a way to connect to yourself. Okay, now that we know that mindfulness doesn't conflict with who we are, but rather help us understand who we are, we can continue with our program. Mindfulness is an ancient Buddhist practice that finally found a way into life of the Western world. Since many of us in the Western world need scientific proof that something works, mindfulness as a practice has a lot of research these days that shows us that living mindfully can help us not only to become happier, but also to improve our overall well-being and our health. Because of all the great work that researchers have been doing in the field of mindfulness and an interest of many students to learn more about it, I dedicated the entire lecture, research on mindfulness in this program, so we can learn more about that later. And there is actually so much research available that we can discuss it for days and days, weeks and months, if we wish to do so. How many times you simply don't remember where you left your keys? You're not sure if you lock your car, going back into the house to check if you turn off the oven. And sometimes, for some of us lucky ones that drive and have cars, we arrive at the destination and think, how did I get here? You know, in one of the programs I shared this, and one gentleman said, I always know how I get to a certain point. And I gave him so much credit. He's been so mindful while driving. Well, these things, as I described earlier, happen simply because we are mindless. We are not being in the present moment. Our mind was going back and forth between the past and the future, and we missed the present. Here's another simple example that many of us can relate, at least here in the West. And I understand that you might be anywhere in the world out of these 160 countries that today I have a student, so I do apologize if this does not relate exactly to you. Ever walked on a busy street and all of a sudden someone just bumps into you? And you just look around, you don't understand what happened. Why did they bump into you? And then you look up, you see the person is still typing a message on his or her phone. Didn't even notice that he or she hit you. This is, my friends, mindlessness. As long as we start becoming aware of this behavior, so if we are not the ones doing it, right? If we are the ones doing it, rather, as long as we notice it, we are capable of changing it, stopping that bad behavior. And in order to be aware and catch ourselves doing this, such as texting while walking, we must be mindful. So, mindless when we do things we don't even know we do, mindful when we know in the moment exactly what we do. Please keep in mind, this is just one way of explaining mindlessness versus mindfulness, but I trust you get the point. I will give more examples and definitions as we go through the program. Now that we have basic knowledge, definitions, a little history, and some examples of mindlessness and mindfulness, let's move to the next lecture.